Hello, my name is John Rose, and in this video I'd like to take a closer look at what I refer to as the condition of our four current status factors, and those would be our physical, mental, emotional, and communal states. Now this is a very, very important piece of the puzzle because there's something seriously wrong with us. All we have to do is pick up any history book or turn the news on any TV or radio station, and it soon becomes painfully obvious that there is something seriously wrong with us. And it's what we got that keeps us where we're at. It's our collective shadow that keeps us where we're at. And if we don't wake up to this reality, if we don't realize that there's something seriously wrong with us, we'll never solve our problems. And part of the problem is we don't think it's within our control. We've been lied to. We've been told that it's part of our nature. It's part of our DNA. Man has a propensity for evil. Wrong. Man has a tendency for evil, but it's not natural. It's unnatural. It's part of our feedback system telling us we're not satisfying our needs. Something's wrong with the condition of our physical state. And this is one of the main reasons why we can't get out of the hole we've dug. I actually came up with these four current status factors long ago when I came up with 6 factors that affect our behavior. I came up with our past moments. That's the sum of everything that we've ever been exposed to, everything we've read, all of our teachers, all the lessons, everything we've experienced. Then there's the current moment itself. The easiest way to be wrong again, remember, we keep being offered that opportunity with our bad habits. And anything else that can come up in the current moment. The ever-changing current moment. And then we've got those 4 current status factors. And it's the condition of our physical state that is at the base of this hierarchy. And if the foundation is not solid, what's going to happen to our mental state and our emotional state? And how are we going to feel relative to everyone else? That's the problem right there. This is the reason why we suffer with our higher virtues, or the higher part of this hierarchy, because the foundation is not solid. And what we're missing is coherent sunlight energy in the nucleus of our cells that makes us feel one. So if we were to look at all of our biomarkers, the number one biomarker we should have on our list would be biophoton levels. This is why we struggle. I said before, we could solve virtually every problem on this planet if we just had one law. And that one law is that we all had to have a minimal biophoton level. And what that would do is it would change the condition of our body. And that would change our mentality. And we wouldn't have an exchange mentality anymore. We would realize we're all one. And we wouldn't have to be told all these things we're being told to do now that are basically on our to-get list. They're a given if we do the right thing. So we have to understand that we are the enemy, but we are also the ones that we've been waiting for, because this dark side of our behavior is not part of our DNA. It's part of our feedback system. We're making mistakes that make us feel disconnected. The very first mistake we made, the fall of mankind, created this condition. And that's why everyone who promotes any type of diet that includes the first mistake is a fool. John McDougall is a fool. The starch solution is not a solution, it's a mistake. It's the third mistake. And why am I getting after McDougall? It's because he says the solution is a mistake. So John McDougall thinks that the ultimate solution to solve the vast majority of our problems, which is a raw vegan diet, is a mistake. And then the third main mistake that we made as a species, that ties back to the agricultural revolution, which is when we started eating plants that were not biologically adapted to eat, McDougall thinks that's the solution. It's not a solution. It's a partial solution for some of the animals and for some of us, but it's not the ultimate solution because it's still a mistake. A mistake cannot be a solution. It can be a better mistake or a better bad choice, but we can do better. We shouldn't settle. The starch solution doesn't solve the vast majority of the problems we face on this planet because it doesn't address the main issue of being disconnected. It doesn't really address the issue of the condition of our body. Ultimately, to a point where we won't have all these warning signs, especially the dark side of our behavior. And it's the darkest of the dark side of our behavior, or the worst of us, or the sickest of us that want to keep us sick. They suppress this knowledge. And as far as I know, McDougall could be a shill, party-controlled opposition, just to go in there and keep slamming the cooked food. So everybody who thinks cooked food is a solution is a fool. And I don't mean a chump. I mean you've been tricked. That's what a fool is. If you've been fooled, what are you? You're a fool. We've all been fooled. We've all been tricked. We've all been attacked early, before we had the ability for critical thinking. As children, we were taught the same mistakes our parents were taught. And now we're addicted to them. And now we have people with what appears to be a really good cause. Let's improve our diet and let's save the animals. But it's only a partial solution. It's not the ultimate solution. We're still going to have all the other problems we have as long as we are disconnected. We have to understand the condition of our physical state. We have to understand that we are sick and disconnected. We have to understand that we're born at 43,000 biophotons, and most of us are around 1 to 23,000. The starch solution might be as high as 23,000, provided you're eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, not cooked. But we're supposed to be at 83,000. We start at 43,000, we end up at 1 to 23,000, we're supposed to be around 83,000. A juice fast bumps it up to 114,000. So that's why I say the juice fast is an idea as time has come. Because there's only 3 ways to correct these 5 main mistakes we're making. Most of us are not willing to do 2 of them. So in order to get to the tipping point, we got to get enough people to do the juice fast. Once we do the juice fast, then all we have to do is make sure everyone eats a raw food diet. And a lot of people, for some reason, don't think that can be done. Well, you're believing things that you're told and you're just not thinking. Come on, you can plant food everywhere. There's no reason why we can't walk out the door and be surrounded by food at all times. And that's what we should have right now. And it's not close. And why? It's all about cooking our food. And the agricultural revolution. It's interesting. I've referred to this book before in the past for the same reason, a book by Daniel Quinn called Ishmael. And in that book is a really interesting book. He ties back all of our problems back to the Industrial Revolution, the third mistake. A lot of bad things happened when we started growing grains. So when we moved into farm communities, that was about 10,000 years ago. That was the beginning of all these laws. And if you study philosophy, you're going to find that the great philosophers knew the more laws we had, the more corruption we had. And there's a direct connection to it. Don't you see? The sickest of us uses a sick government to control the rest of us. So when we moved into farm communities, we needed to start laws, and that's what eventually made us move into cities. That's what civilization is all about. And we have more laws. And now there's more laws and more laws and more laws. And this is how we're being controlled. Our rights are being taken away from us. And before you know it, we won't even be able to grow our own food. Before you know it, they're going to start irradiating all of our food. What are you going to do then? We got to act now before things get worse. Before they start passing more dumb laws where you can't have your own garden, or they're going to irradiate the almonds, or let's irradiate everything. Got to kill the germs and viruses, right? Man, I tell you, we've had so much bullshit bombarded into our brain, thinking that there are germs and viruses that are causing all of our problems, and that cooking our food somehow is a solution. Making a mistake is a solution. My God, what kind of sick world do we live in where we actually think making a mistake is a solution? A solution for whom? The animals or us? It's a partial solution at best. We can do better. And we owe it to these guys to do better. We owe it to every living creature on this planet to do better. We're not living up to our potential as the true guardians on this planet because of the condition of our 4 current status factors, especially the condition of our body, because we're lacking biophotons. Number 1 biomarker we should have is our biophoton levels. Number 2, I'd say, is water. If you guys haven't got a scale yet, get a scale, measure your water percentage. It's got to be around 70%. And if you're not eating a raw vegan diet, it's not going to be close to that. So why raw food? It's our ideal diet. In an ideal world, it's no longer ideal, so we have another group of needs. Can't blame our ideal diet because we have to supplement it. It's not an indictment on the diet, it's an indictment on the damage we've done. So, remember, I've said this many times, there are 2 groups of needs we must satisfy. Unfortunately, most of us are not willing and able to do that, which is why I added 2 preliminary steps to the only thing we have to do, thereby perfecting a 3-step process. The first step addresses the willingness issue, just so we can get enough people to wake this whole planet up. If we can get 10% of the people in America, let's say, to do this, America can wake up. Next thing you know, the government's delivering juices to the doorsteps. You go down in Mexico, you can buy a pint of juice for $1. There's no reason why we can't be giving juice to everybody around the world. There's no reason why everybody can't have free energy. That technology has been around for a long time. But the people who rule the world want to keep us enslaved. They want to keep us struggling to just make it from paycheck to paycheck. It's a form of neo-feudalism, just like in feudal days. You know, you can't do this, or you can't do this, you can't feed yourself. It's all about control. It's all about satisfying our needs. We're not doing that. The starch solution is not a solution. A mistake is not a solution. It's only a better bad mistake. It's only a better bad choice. We can do better, and it's so hard to do that. That's why I've come up with my juice fast or juice feast or this solid food vacation. I know how hard it is to eat more of the good stuff and less of the bad stuff. And that's why I perfected this first step to my process. And that's because there's something really powerful about not feeding that one thing that controls you. That's what the juice fast does. We're not chewing on food. First 3 days can be tough psychologically, but once we get past that, we start feeling so much better, at least the most of us. And the ones who don't are either not drinking enough, you're not supporting your organs of elimination, or we haven't figured out how to support our body because it's been damaged somehow. And don't forget, the environment's been damaged too. We can't get everything we need from our ideal diet. But we sure as hell can't get it by cooking our food, because that destroys the main thing we need to change the condition of our body so we are no longer the enemy. John McDougall, you are the enemy because you're promoting a cooked food diet and you're slamming a raw food diet. You're slamming the solution. And you have the audacity to say a mistake is a solution. You're almost like a magician, aren't you? It's a solution. Look, we're not killing the animals, but we're still killing ourselves. We're still killing our food. We can do better. And it begins by doing the first of my 3-step process. Go down below in the description box, watch the Deborah Duncan show, listen to the Dr. Roba interview, and go to my seminar. And when you do this, I guarantee you, you're in for a treat.